right, good evening, everyone. This is Councilor Jennifer Ives, Chair of the Finance Executive Committee. The time is now 6 p.m. on Wednesday, May 26, 2021, and we are prepared for our third public hearing on the tax millage rate. We had our second meeting at noon earlier today. I'm joined, I know, by my colleague on Finance Executive Committee, Matt Westmoreland, and there may be some other council members on the line as well. The public may view this hearing on Channel 26, Facebook Live, Twitter, the City Council homepage, and YouTube, as well as by listening via the conference bridges. An electronic copy of the budget book and this presentation can be found under the proposed fiscal year 22 budget tab on the Finance Executive page of the City Council website. I do believe we were joined by Councilmember Andre Dickens as well. And good evening, Mr. Dickens. Thanks for joining us. I think that's it. To the listening public, all of the budget materials are available online. So if there are any particular department briefings that you missed that you would like to see, go on the City Council website under Finance Executive and Proposed Fiscal Year 22 Budget tab. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer of the City of Atlanta, Roosevelt Council, to give the presentation on what the millage rate is going to look like this year. Thank you, Mr. Council.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, City Council members. This presentation today is to review the City of Atlanta net property tax digest and millage value for fiscal year 22. Let's move to the first slide. The City of Atlanta tax millage consists of 3 levies: an operating levy, a bond levy, and a parks levy. The operating levy is used to cover the general operating expenses of the city. The bond levy covers debt service payments on general obligation bonds that have been issued. And the parks levy covers expenses related to the city's parks. The city's current FY21 mill rate is a combined 10.23 mills, which is comprised of an operating levy of 7.85 mil, a bond levy of 1.88 mil, and a parks levy of 0.50 mil. The proposed FY22 mill rate is an estimate until an authorized 2021 tax digest from Fulton and DeKalb County is received. Once the digest is received, the city will conduct an analysis of that digest and determine the FY22 mill rate. Adoption will then take place when the city receives the mill rates for Atlanta Public Schools as well as the Fulton County Library. Next slide. This slide reflects the breakdown of the tax levies by municipalities. Atlanta Public Schools receives 50% of the tax levies. Fulton or DeKalb County receives 25% of the tax levy. And the City of Atlanta receives 25% of the tax levy as well, with 18% of that 25% allocated to the operating levy, 5% allocated to the bond levy, and 1% allocated to the parks levy. So, Madam Chair, that concludes this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Council. Colleagues, I know most of you all have heard this presentation now 3 times, but any questions for Mr. Council?
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the presentation, Mr. Council. And before we adjourn, I just want to give a reminder to my colleagues and the listening public that the final departmental budget briefings will be tomorrow from 10 to noon. 10 to 11 will be the Office of the Inspector General. 11 to 11:30 will be the City Auditor's Office. 11:30 to 12 will be the Atlanta Citizen Review Board. And all of those materials, again, are available on the Atlanta City Council website. If you go to Standing Committees and find Finance Executive, and under there's a tab that says FY22 budget. So look forward to having everybody online at 10 a.m. tomorrow who is interested in those 3 departments. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn, and we will close the hearing. Thanks, everybody.